In this exercise, I'm going to show you how to modify the relationship between two or more paths inside of a compound shape by applying a different Pathfinder operation. Very useful stuff, a little bit tricky though, as we're about to see. I've gone ahead and saved my progress as compoundshapemarine.ai found inside the 10 Pathfinder folder. And what I want to do this time is I want to turn Ringo into a hole. So I want a Ringo-shaped hole in my submarine, let's say. I'm going to switch my focus to the layers panel for a moment. Notice when Ringo is meatballed, none of the shape modes is active here inside the Pathfinder panel. In other words, we're not seeing a depressed icon. They're all perfectly happy. Whereas if I go ahead and meatball submarine, then Unite is active. And the idea here is that you can change which of the shape modes is acting on submarine. However, I can't change the shape mode that's at work on Ringo. And the reason is that Ringo is the base path in the compound shape. So Ringo is Ringo, and then the submarine is being added to it. If Ringo needs to be the hole, then you need to be able to subtract Ringo from the submarine, so the submarine needs to be the base shape. So I'm going to grab the submarine and move it down, like so. So it's below Ringo. And if you have troubles making that happen, if you accidentally drag the submarine out of the compound shape, then just go ahead and drag Ringo up instead. That's perfectly acceptable as well. In fact, I'll show you. I'll go ahead and undo the movement of the submarine, and I'll drag Ringo upward like so, just so that Ringo's in front of the submarine. Now notice, submarine is still meatballed. None of the shape modes is active because Illustrator is saying, oh, I get it. Now the submarine is your base path. If I meatball Ringo, why then Unite is active, and I can switch it to one of the other shape modes, by which I mean either minus front, intersect, or exclude. I can't assign any of these pathfinders down below. These are all static operations. They don't work inside of compound shapes. Now then, having said that, Illustrator is about to make me out to be a liar, because what I want to do is I want to take Ringo and subtract him from submarine, so I would apply this guy, right? Minus front. In other words, I'm going to subtract Ringo, who's in front, from the submarine, which is in back. However, as soon as I click on that icon, I get this message saying the filter produced no results. Please select two intersecting paths. Which is like, what are you talking about, Illustrator? These guys are intersecting. Look at them. The feet right there are intersecting between Ringo and the submarine. What do you want from me? Anyway, you click OK. What you got to do is you got to stick with that whole Alt-click to create a compound shape thing, or Option-click on the Mac. So in other words, as long as you're working inside of a compound shape, you've got to press the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac and click that icon. And then Illustrator does what you say. So anytime you click on those icons, normally without Alt or Option down, you're creating a static effect. So in other words, you're actually carving up the old paths into new ones. When you Alt or Option click, then you're working dynamically inside of a compound shape. Now notice that I can move Ringo as a floating hole to any location I like, and I can reveal elements behind the submarine, if indeed such elements exist. For example, in our case, we have a walrus. Who would have guessed? Anyway, so you can see through one path outline to the other. You can also switch to the other modes. For example, we've got intersect right here, and if I want to apply it, I need to Alt-click or Option-click. If I just click, again, Illustrator's going to grouch at me. Click OK. So I'd Alt-click or Option-click on intersect, and now I'm keeping only the area where Ringo and the submarine intersect each other, which is great if the walrus is feeling shy, in our case, for example. And notice if I move Ringo to a different location, then we keep that intersection going. The other option, the final shape mode, is exclude. So I'll go ahead and Alt-click or Option-click on exclude. And then what happens is anywhere where the two paths overlap each other, we have transparency. So we have a hole. Once again, if I move Ringo over the walrus, we'll see that hole. And anywhere where the two paths don't overlap each other, as in the larger area of the submarine as well as down here in Ringo's feet, then we have opacity and the walrus is covered up. So that's basically what's going on. You can change out the Pathfinder operation that's at work on one of the upper paths inside of a compound shape. So there's one base path. There can be many other paths with entirely different Pathfinder operations applied to them. But you just have to make sure that you Alt or Option click on one of these shape mode icons here inside the Pathfinder panel.